If you're anything like me, you probably prefer the safer bets than the riskier high reward stuff. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the undervalued dividend compounders that are on my radar right now. Friends and family, I'm talking about the regional bank stocks. So let me get on my little soapbox and talk about why I see value and opportunity. And by the way, last night, I think I slept in a weird position because I woke up with a broken neck. I literally cannot turn my head to the left. Like, I can go to the right, it's fine. But if I try to go this way, dude, it hurts so much. That's one of the things about growing older that really sucks, because if you just sleep in a weird position, dude, your whole day is gonna be a mess and ruined. And don't even get me started on how much weight you gain after one trip to a buffet. Like, when you're younger, dude, you can down as many plates as you want and you're probably good to go. You'll probably gain like, what, a pound or two. Once you get older, dude, that metabolism slows down. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. So reason number one as to why I'm interested in the bank stocks is that I don't have any bank exposure in my portfolio. But I would like to, because in my personal opinion, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think bank stocks are buy and hold forevers due to their dividend profile, economic moat, and compounding nature. Case in point, as you can see on your screen right now, let's just take a look at the performance of the big banks in the past whatever years. So year to date, I mean, we only had one day in the new year. But having said that, JP Chase, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and Citigroup, they're all up in the green. If we zoom out 365 days ago, every single one of them has smashed the performance of the S&P 500, which I believe was a little under 17% for 2025. The big banks, dude, they doubled or even tripled that. And if we zoom out 3 years, every single one of the big banks have been dividend compounders with cheese. By definition, objectively, they have crushed. No, this is not AI. This is not some speculative startup company that's working on robotics. These are banks in the business of making money with money. The business model does not get simpler than that. There's a lot to like and desire about bank stocks. Now, obviously, if we talk about 2008, 2009, hideous, disgusting, get out of my face. But I think enough time has passed where we can pardon them, that we can forgive them. My faith and moral compass, we should forgive one another, okay? I mean, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what you're seeing on your screen is the total return with dividends paid out taken into account. I mean, except Citigroup, dude, every single one of the big banks in the past 10 years has absolutely crushed. And if we zoom out 5 more years, 1,000% total return for JP Chase, and then Morgan Stanley in second place. So needless to say, I like the bank stocks, and I can't believe that I do not own a single bank in my portfolio, which is crazy because not too long ago, I broke down the entire bank industry, like the big bank stocks, to see which ones were great and which ones are less than desirable. And even then, I haven't had the opportunity to pull the trigger. However, that's where it all changes, because right now, the regional bank stocks, they're beaten up. And I see value and opportunity. I'm not joking. Check this out. Now, when you take into consideration the S&P 500, the current trading multiple is a 30.9. For simplicity's sakes, we'll just round up and say a 31. Whereas on the other hand, the regional banks, right now, collectively, the PE ratio is a 13.5 across the board when you average it out. And what makes this a compelling case is that historically, the regional bank stocks, they usually trade at about 81% of the S&P 500's PE ratio of a 31. And if we do some quick napkin math, we can see that as of right now, the regional banks, they're well below that 81% historical marker. Their PE should be a 25 to that of the 31 of the S&P 500. It's a 13.5. So valuation-wise, they're half of where they should be, and I see opportunity. In the regional banks industry, there's a ton of them. There's 335 in total. And I made a list of the ones that have the most potential based on fundamentals and metrics that are really crucial and essential when evaluating banks. Yes, I spent the past 9 days going through every single one of these bank stocks to see which ones are good, which ones are hidden gems, which ones are ugly, which ones are hideous, and I'm going to reveal that list here in a second. And the next reason as to why I'm feeling bullish and my nipples are sweaty when I think about the regional bank stocks is that with the current party in power, I think it's going to be a favorable business environment for the banks, at least for the next 3 years. So thinking about it from a short-term outlook, these banks should be thriving on paper. They do have an ally with the president that's in office because the current administration is all about boosting the economy and business in general. So there's going to be less regulation, less red tape, and the financial handcuffs are no more. The banks are about to go wild and make profits like we haven't seen in at least in the past 20 years. I think in 2008, 2009, they made a ton of profits and it caused a housing crisis. But hopefully this time around, they can make a lot of money without causing such devastation. Now, having said that, these are the opportunities. I think these are the ones that are beaten up with good potential. That's not financial advice. The only one where I felt icky about is this one, National Bank Holdings Corporation. Besides their net interest income trend, I thought their other fundamentals looked pretty good, except maybe the return on equity. It should be around 10%, but to be 9.1%, it's almost there. And to take a closer look at one of them together, Pinnacle Financial's Partners, ticker symbol PNFP, and it's a regional bank that tends to cater to entrepreneurs and high net worth individuals. And I'm from the MBA world. Pinnacle Financial Partners, usually what happens is they poach high talent from Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. So when those associates hop on over to Pinnacle, they usually bring their clients with them. So it's a really interesting tactic that they're running, but they're also in the process of acquiring another bank right now. And that's another reason as to why I'm feeling so bullish about the bank stocks that I don't want to go into depth in this video. So let's take a closer look at Pinnacle together. So from this list, let's go ahead and find Pinnacle. They're number 44. Take a look at what we're working with. Their total share price appreciation is 1,800%. They were IPO'd back in the year 2000. So in the span of 25 years, we're talking about 1,800%. Take a look at their financials. Their net interest income trend is just absolutely beautiful. And it's growing at a rate that is pretty juicy. But what I want to focus on is their dividend profile. I mean, the yield, not the highest, I hear you, but their dividend growth rate is 9%. Now, one thing that you want to take into account is that a company cannot increase their dividends unless their bottom line, their net income, is improving. And in the case of Pinnacle Financial Partners, I'll scroll on down to the bottom line, which is right here, their net income. Look at the situation. It's trending up and to the right over the grand scheme of things. Obviously, there is a little bit of volatility, but if you look at the general trend, it's growing. 2015, $95 million of bottom line, and now we're talking about $623 million of profits. So that dividend can't grow unless the net income is growing. As a general rule of nipple, there are some companies out here where their net income is shrinking, but they're still growing their dividend to the point where they're going to have to cut it. A huge shout out to United Parcel Service, UPS. Let's take a look at their net income. Dude, it is just going in the wrong trend, right? So 2015, $4.8 billion of profits, and now it's $5.5 billion of profits. But since 2021, it is decreasing without fail in a reliable basis. Despite their bottom line shrinking, they're finding a way to still grow their dividend. The fact of the matter is, you cannot grow your dividend at a rate of 20.8% year over year, like JP Morgan Chase. I mean, look at this visually. It is beautiful, by the way, unless your bottom line is growing at a rate that is just as juicy and beautiful. Now let's just look at one more together as an example. Commerce Bank shares, ticker symbol CBSH, dividend growth rate is 6.9%. And what makes them different is not only are they a regional bank, but they're also a tech hybrid finance company. They do payment processing for hospitals, which would give them a competitive advantage among their peers. If we take a look at their stock price movement for the past 1 year, negative 12%, maximum timeline, they IPO'd back in like 1985, $10 1,900% in the green. Their dividend profile is absolutely juicy. Payout ratio is 26%. The dividend growth rate is 7%. And they've been growing their dividend consecutively, consistently, every single year without fail through all the turmoil, setbacks, disasters, catastrophic events. 58 years they've been growing their dividend. That's just simply amazing. This is the definition of a dividend compounder with cheese. Objectively, performance-wise, but also financially, they are a compounder. Okay, South State Bank Corporation, ticker symbol SSB. Dividend growth rate is 7.5%. Let's take a look at their bottom line per share growth. Scrolling down their P&L, if we take a look at their earnings per share growth, it's 12.2%, and the dividend growth rate is 7.5%. So we need to see the bottom line per share be growing and going in the right direction so that the dividend growth rate can follow suit. This number can't be high, can't be juicy, unless the company's bottom line is juicy and beautiful as well. That's the point that I'm trying to get across. And the regional bank stocks, for the most part, they're crushing. It's just that right now there's a lot of fear and uncertainty that's plaguing the industry as a whole, which brings me to my next point. I'm giving you the names of the most undervalued ones for free here on YouTube. You can do whatever you want with this information. It's not financial advice. It's just one idiot sharing his homework with you. But all I'm trying to say is if you want additional analysis and my personal entry prices for opening positions, that'll be up on the Patreon. The link to the Patreon will be in the video description and in the pinned comment. Because there are some other factors that you need to take into consideration, like the pros and the cons. I don't want to make this video longer than it is. Now, with that said, before I head out of here, I want to give you an update. So the other day, I finally got around to watching a cinema classic known as The Dead Poets Society. It's about a private school teacher having an influence and impact on his classroom full of students that are operating and navigating through life in a very rigid system. But as a teacher, he challenges them to think outside of the box, not just in the classroom, but in their personal endeavors and their love and passions. And I absolutely understand that I'm about to trigger some people, but I did not like the movie. It left me with an empty feeling. It was really dark, did not like it, would not recommend. It was like a 2 out of 10, but I can absolutely see why people go on and rave about it being one of the best. I can see why. I personally do not agree. However, just the other day, the wife and I, we were looking for Christmas-oriented films, and I found one called The Holdovers. It was published in 2023. Dude, it's almost exactly the same as the Dead Poets Society, but with far better execution. And the story itself was a lot more inspirational, relatable, but you also walk away not feeling dark or empty within, because it's more uplifting and encouraging. It's almost pound for pound the exact same thing as the Dead Poets Society, except The Holdovers, it's based around the Vietnam War era, so in the 1970s. So much better. 9 out of 10 would wholly recommend. If you want to watch a comedy drama that's about 2 hours long, The Holdovers, I'm telling you right now, if it's bad, dude, you can come back on this channel and roast me and say, you are never allowed to give movie recommendations ever again. You can say that and I will click like on your comment. But I think you're going to like it. It's pretty darn good. Now, with that said, I love you guys. Stay safe. Good luck in the stock market. And I will talk to you next time. Peace.